Good evening and welcome to Read Aloud Fun. We are going to be reading tonight a book called Our Subway Baby, the true story of how one baby found his home. We are, of course, you see the map is still up. We are still traveling across the continents. Last Read Aloud, we were on the continent of North America and we dropped off in Canada and had a great time with Grandma. And now we're going to come on down to another part of the same continent, to the United States, and we're going to visit New York City for this read aloud. Now, there will be some questions you'll see scrolling across the bottom of the screen really soon. Just things for you to consider while you are listening to the story. As you can see, I am Carolina today, and I hope you enjoy this read aloud. So let's get ready to get started. Some babies are born into their families, some are adopted. This is the story of how one baby found his family in the New York City subway. Interesting place to find a family. It was a cool August night in New York, and Danny was riding the subway home. On his way out of the station, he saw something tucked away in a corner. At first, it looked like a dog, but it wasn't. It was you. You were only a few hours old, wrapped up in a sweatshirt. Danny brushed your cheek. You wiggled your arms and legs. For a moment, time stopped, but then Danny jumped to action. He called the police and he called me. Because, of course, he's got to report this. He's just found the baby in the subway. I found a baby, he shouted. Get here quick. I could practically hear Danny's heart beating through the phone. Of course, I ran. And there he is, sprinting through New York on his way to the subway station. Can you imagine getting that phone call? You were in a police officer's arms the first time I saw you. You looked like an angel, and Danny and I couldn't take our eyes off you. The officer gently put you in the police car, and you yawned as if this sort of thing happened every day. We waved goodbye, hoping we see you again someday soon. A reporter picked up the story, and soon all of New York City wanted to know more about Danny and the baby from the subway. You made headlines in all the newspapers and on TV. We didn't know it at the time, but Danny had not just found a baby, he found our family. Danny couldn't stop thinking about you. And so the next morning he went to the hospital, but they wouldn't let him see you. Only family may visit, said the lady at the front desk. I'm the person who found him, Danny said. He doesn't have a family. I just want to make sure he's okay. Thanks to you, he's a healthy little boy, the lady said. Who knows what would have happened if you hadn't found him? The nurses named him after you and the subway train, Danny Ace Doe. So Dan and I had to go on with our lives. And even though we had known you only for a few minutes, we missed you. We wondered about you often. We learned that you were placed in a foster home. Some babies stay in foster care for a short time, some for a long time. Some live in many different foster homes and grow up without a permanent home or family. Judge Cooper, the woman in charge of finding loving homes for many New York City children, didn't want that to happen to you. Luckily, she knew how you and Danny had found each other. She'd heard about the visit. She had heard about his visit to see you in the hospital. She had seen him talk about you on the TV news, and so she knew exactly where you belong. Okay, so she's really thinking about what she should do with this baby and where she should place it. But first, she wanted to meet Danny. In December, Judge Cooper called Danny to her courtroom. You care a lot about this little boy, don't you? She asked Danny. Danny nodded. A baby belongs with someone who loves him, and I think that's you. Would you like to adopt him? Danny took a deep breath. In that moment, he knew adopting you was exactly what he wanted. Yes, I'm interested, but I know adopting a baby isn't always easy for two dads. It can be, the judge smiled. Where there's love, anything is possible. Danny was speechless. All he could do was nod again. He left the courtroom excited about us starting a family together. So she gave him lots of hope that they could turn into a nice little family. It's funny to think about it now, but I wasn't so sure at first. That's incredible, I said to Danny, but it's impossible. Where there's love, anything's possible, Danny said. Fate is giving us a son. How can we refuse? It's a big discussion to have. But I was scared. After all, our apartment was tiny. Our piggy banks were empty. I didn't know if we had what it took to be your parents. And I think all first time parents feel that way, no matter how the family starts. A few days later, we went to your foster home to visit you and to see if we were ready to be your parents. Dana cradled you first and then placed you in my arms. Your turn, he told me. Look at the sheer fear on his face, like, I don't want to get this wrong. As soon as he put you in my arms, you started to cry. I mean, you wailed. Then something strange happened. It's okay, I whispered and brushed your cheek. You're going to be all right. Suddenly, you stopped crying and just stared at the two of us with those big, wide eyes. And then you wrapped your tiny little hand around my finger and you squeezed and squeezed. The harder you squeezed, the more I forgot my worries. Our home may have been tiny, our piggy banks empty, but our hearts were full. That's how we knew we were meant to become a family. Oh. We chose to name you Kevin in honor of a family member who was very special to us. And our names changed too. We became your Daddy Danny and Papa Pete. The miracles didn't stop there though. We thought we'd have to visit months and months to actually bring you home. But Judge Cooper asked if we'd like to bring you home for Christmas. For Christmas? That was in 3 days. We didn't have anything for you yet. Short notice. Let's see if they pull it off. But of course, we said yes. Where there's love, anything is possible. All of your new relatives sprang into action to get everything you needed. Grandma and Grandpa supplied a crib and diapers and footsie pajamas. Oh. Your aunts and uncles brought bottles and blankets. Your cousins gave you toys and a teddy. So everybody pitches in to get ready for this very special Christmas present. We stayed up all night reading books about how to take care of you. Now all we needed was you. So they are all ready. On the day you came home, it was snowing. The flurries floated in the air, moving in every direction as if performing a special dance just for you. We didn't have a car, so we thought about hailing a taxi or hopping on a bus. But since you had ended our lives at a subway station, we chose to bring you home the same way. How fitting. We sat in the corner with you on our laps. We were so happy it was contagious, and other passengers smiled at us. Everybody's looking at them and smiling. Babies bring that out in people. Soon the rocking and swaying made you sleepy, and I still remember how you looked at us and yawned. Then you closed your eyes and took your first nap as our son. There we were, the three of us, in a dream we hadn't dreamt, but that came true anyway. Sometimes life hinges on little moments, happy accidents, and miraculous surprises. Sometimes babies are born into forever families. Sometimes they are adopted. And sometimes all it takes to find your family is a chance glance at tiny toes wiggling in the corner of a subway station. And if you can see on the author's notes, that is the family. And you see down in the very bottom picture, little Kevin is not so little anymore. I hope that you enjoyed this story. I hope that you can see that families come in all shapes and sizes. They're formed different ways, but all it takes is a little love. So until the next time, keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. We'll see you next time. Ta ta for now.